The person you cannot seem to stop thinking about may truly care about you more than you realize. Even if everything between you feels uncertain, confusing, or difficult to understand right now, there may be a deeper reason this person keeps returning to your thoughts again and again. It may not be an accident, it may not be random, and it may not be happening only because you are lonely, bored, or emotionally vulnerable at this moment. Something meaningful may still be keeping this connection alive inside your inner world and daily emotions. This person appears in your mind for a reason. Even when you make no effort to think about them, they show up during quiet moments when the noise of life finally fades and your mind becomes still. They appear in the small spaces between your usual thoughts, in those moments just before sleep when your defenses are lowered. Sometimes they enter your mind without warning in the middle of an ordinary day while you are simply going through your routine. You could be working, talking with someone, enjoying time with friends, or feeling completely fine, and suddenly their face appears in your mind, their voice, their smile, a memory connected to them. It rises naturally and quietly on its own. And if this has been happening to you, keep listening, because what it may reveal is often far deeper than people think. You may have tried many times to push these thoughts away. You may have told yourself that it is time to move on and that continuing to think about them no longer helps you. You may have reminded yourself of the confusion, the distance, or the long silence that now exists between you. At times, you may have questioned yourself deeply. You may have wondered whether you are imagining something that is not really there or holding on to hope without any clear reason. You may have asked why they still matter so much when nothing seems resolved between the two of you. Yet no matter how hard you try to distract yourself, they keep returning to your thoughts. Even when you tell yourself you are done with it all, even when you feel strong and certain for a while, they remain quietly present somewhere inside you. This is not automatically a sign that something is wrong with you. It does not mean you are desperate, stuck in the past, or incapable of moving forward. It may simply mean that this connection has not fully settled within your story. Some emotional truth may still exist between you, whether it has been spoken openly or not, and here is the part many people overlook. Connections like this are not created by logic alone. They are not controlled entirely by willpower. They are formed on a deeper level where emotion, memory, meaning, and experience become intertwined over time. When someone continues to appear in your thoughts without effort, it often suggests that unfinished emotional energy still exists between both of you. Something was felt deeply, even if it was never fully expressed in words. Something was shared, even if it was never clearly defined or given a label. This person may be thinking about you too, even if they have not reached out or openly shared their feelings. Thoughts do not always travel through messages and conversations. Feelings do not always reveal themselves through obvious actions. Sometimes people carry emotions quietly because they are unsure what to do with them. They may feel overwhelmed, cautious, uncertain, or afraid of what the future could bring. They may not know how to act on what they feel, so they keep those emotions hidden for a while. But silence does not automatically mean the absence of care. Just because someone is quiet does not mean they feel nothing. You may sense them at unexpected moments during your day or night. A sudden wave of warmth, longing, sadness, emotion that seems to appear from nowhere. You may feel connected to them despite the physical or emotional distance between you. This is not always your imagination. Strong emotional connections can continue beneath the surface in ways that are hard to explain. They do not always follow neat timelines or predictable rules. They can remain quietly active while still influencing thoughts and emotions in subtle ways. If that sounds familiar, stay with me, because the next part may explain why this connection feels so difficult to ignore. You are not weak for feeling this way. You are simply human. Caring deeply does not disappear just because your mind decides it should. The heart rarely moves on according to a schedule created by logic. When something meaningful touches your life, it leaves an imprint. That imprint often remains until it has been understood, healed, accepted, or slowly transformed by time. This connection does not mean you should wait forever or put your own growth on hold. It simply means that what you felt was real. The bond mattered. Confusion does not erase love. Silence does not erase emotion. Distance does not automatically mean there are no feelings on the other side. Sometimes distance reflects fear. Sometimes it reflects uncertainty. Sometimes it reflects a private struggle that the other person has not shared with anyone. You may never receive every answer you want, or one day those answers may arrive when you least expect them. Either way, your experience is still valid. The thoughts you carry are not meaningless. The emotions you feel are not pointless. They are part of a story that touched your heart deeply and changed something inside you. If this person continues to live in your thoughts, it may be because something between you has not fully settled yet. That does not mean it must stay the same forever. It simply means it mattered more than you may realize. And things that truly matter often take time before they finally rest peacefully within the heart. Be gentle with yourself during this season. Do not judge your thoughts too harshly. Do not force your emotions to disappear before they are ready. Understanding often arrives slowly. Clarity often unfolds naturally through patience. And sometimes the purpose of a connection is not to last forever. Sometimes its purpose is to change you, teach you something important, and remind you how deeply you are capable of feeling. Even in confusion and silence, a connection can still carry meaning for both people involved. When someone occupies your thoughts this consistently for a long time, it often suggests that the emotional cord between you remains active, even if communication has ended. Even if circumstances created separation, even if the silence has lasted much longer than either of you expected. Your mind may not be holding on to the past without reason. Your heart may be responding to something that still feels unfinished. Human beings are rarely troubled by what feels complete. We are affected most deeply by what feels unresolved. You may notice that you think about them whenever something good happens in your life. A success, a beautiful moment, a small victory. They may be the first person who comes to mind. You imagine sharing those little details with them. You wonder how they are doing even while your own life stays busy. And sometimes the pull you feel is not only toward their presence, it is toward their inner world, their thoughts, their energy, their experience. This kind of pull can remain even when distance and silence separate two people, because emotional bonds do not always disappear simply because communication stops. Silence does not erase a meaningful connection. Distance does not erase the attachment that has been built over time. When two people share a deep bond, that experience leaves a lasting mark on the mind and heart. Our deeper emotional world does not follow strict timelines. It responds to meaning, powerful emotions, memories, and experiences that still feel unfinished. If you continue thinking about this person, it may be because a part of you senses that the story between you has not completely reached its ending. That can also explain why the connection feels so complicated. Love that is simple often brings clarity. Love that feels delayed, distant, or uncertain often exists somewhere between hope and fear. One or both of you may be afraid of becoming vulnerable. One or both of you may fear change or worry about repeating old pain. There may be hesitation about wanting something that still feels uncertain. Fear does not always destroy love. Sometimes it only delays it. Sometimes it creates space where closeness wants to grow. Sometimes it keeps people silent even when their heart longs to speak. While fear can slow action, it cannot always erase what is felt deep inside. That is why certain connections continue to remain long after logic says they should have disappeared. They stay because they carried real meaning. They stay because they awakened something important within both people. Until that meaning is fully understood, accepted, or completed, the connection may continue returning to your thoughts when you least expect it. Stay with me, because the next part may explain something you have been wondering about for a long time. Sometimes people hide those feelings without even realizing it. They create distance where closeness is deeply wanted, yet still feels risky or uncertain. You may find yourself asking why, if they truly care about you, they have not reached out or taken a clear step toward you. You may wonder why they have stayed silent for so long without giving you any explanation. The truth is that love does not always move in a straight line. It rarely follows the path people expect. Many individuals feel deeply but struggle to understand how to respond to those emotions. Some protect their heart because of painful experiences from the past. Others still carry wounds from earlier relationships that quietly influence the way they think and behave. Some feel trapped between responsibility and desire in their current life. Some believe they are not worthy of receiving the love they feel. Others think they must first become a better version of themselves before allowing true closeness into their life again. The mind naturally returns to what the heart cannot fully settle. That is why this person appears in your thoughts during peaceful moments, quiet evenings, or times when your emotions are open and your attention is relaxed. At night, when the noise of the world becomes quiet, deeper emotions often become easier to hear. During the day, when your guard comes down for just a moment, those same thoughts can return naturally. And if this keeps happening, there may be more to it than you first believed. These thoughts are not always something you choose. They often rise naturally from deeper emotional places inside you. That is important to remember. Thoughts that arrive without invitation usually come from emotional layers beneath the surface rather than from simple overthinking. There is another reason this happens as well. When these memories return, you are not only remembering who that person is, you are also remembering who you became when you were connected with them. Certain people awaken parts of us that stayed quiet around everyone else. They reflect back qualities that make us feel seen, understood, and fully alive. Losing that reflection can sometimes feel like losing a part of yourself for a while. That is one reason longing can feel much stronger than simple attraction. Distance between two people who genuinely care about each other often exists not because love is missing, but because timing, fear, life circumstances, or personal struggles are standing in the way. You may feel as though something invisible keeps preventing both of you from moving closer together. That feeling deserves thoughtful attention. When emotions stay active without reaching a clear ending, the mind naturally keeps the connection alive until it finds understanding, acceptance, or peace. Keep watching, because what happens next in this emotional journey is often where everything begins to change. You may also notice your emotions changing from one day to the next. One day you feel completely detached and confident. The next day, a simple reminder brings every feeling rushing back again. This back and forth movement is completely normal. It is part of the emotional process. Often it means your logical mind is trying to protect you, while your emotional self still feels connected underneath. Those two parts of you do not always move together. Healing does not require erasing every memory or pretending the connection never mattered. Healing often begins when you understand why this connection still exists and what it may be teaching you right now. Sometimes a connection remains because an important lesson is hidden inside it. Sometimes it stays because communication between two people still feels unfinished. Sometimes it remains because both people are slowly moving toward the same emotional truth, even if they are not ready at the same time. Emotional timing is rarely perfectly matched. If you believe they care about you but continue to stay distant, they may be facing an internal struggle of their own. They may feel the same pull toward you that you feel toward them. They may think about you more often than you realize. They may quietly wonder whether you still care about them too, yet instead of stepping forward, they hesitate. Fear of rejection, fear of losing what little connection remains, fear of changing their life too quickly, these fears can quietly hold people back far longer than they ever expected. Love does not always reveal itself through dramatic actions or unforgettable speeches. Sometimes it hides behind silence. Sometimes it lives inside careful decisions and cautious steps. Sometimes it waits quietly for a moment that feels safe enough to move forward. Sometimes it watches from a distance, hoping the right opportunity will appear without causing more pain. A lack of action does not always mean a lack of feeling. What matters most right now is not trying to control every possible outcome. What matters is understanding what this connection may be showing you about yourself and your own journey. Maybe it is teaching you patience. Maybe it is helping you build stronger self-worth. Maybe it is encouraging you to trust more while chasing less. Or maybe it is preparing you to receive clarity when the timing is finally right. Whether that clarity comes through reunion or peaceful acceptance, your feelings are not foolish. You are not weak because this person continues entering your thoughts. You are responding to something that cannot always be explained through logic alone. The mind searches for reasons. The heart often recognizes importance long before the mind understands it. When something truly matters, it rarely disappears overnight. If they genuinely care about you and distance still remains, then time and personal growth may be doing important work behind the scenes for both of you. And the final part may be the one you need to hear most. Allow these thoughts to come and go without judging yourself too harshly. Do not force extra meaning into every memory, but do not dismiss them immediately either. Notice how you feel whenever they appear. Maybe you feel calm, maybe you feel warmth, maybe sadness, longing, comfort, or quiet hope rises inside you. Every emotion carries information worth noticing. Your feelings are trying to tell you something important in those moments. Remember this one truth above everything else. What is truly meant for you should never require endless suffering. It may ask for patience. It may ask for growth. But it should never require you to lose yourself or ignore your own needs. Whether this connection eventually becomes part of your future or slowly fades with time, it is shaping you in ways you may not fully understand yet. And if one day the distance closes naturally, it will most likely happen because both of you have become ready to meet without fear standing between you. Until then, trust that what you are experiencing has meaning, even if that meaning is not completely clear today. When someone remains in your thoughts from morning until night, there is often a quiet emotional thread continuing beneath everyday life. They may be thinking about you as well, even if they never say it out loud. They may care deeply, even if those words have never been spoken. Love does not always appear through immediate action or bold promises. Sometimes love reveals itself through patience. Sometimes it quietly waits for the right moment before finally finding its voice. Sometimes love expresses itself through restraint because something valuable feels worth protecting. The person you cannot stop thinking about may have stronger feelings than they have ever shown. Those emotions may be deep, steady, and meaningful. But feeling love and being ready to act on it are not always the same thing. Love and readiness do not always arrive together. Someone can care deeply about you and still feel unable to move closer right now. They may question whether they are good enough for you. They may believe you deserve more than they can offer in this season of life. They may worry about hurting you because they understand how important the connection feels. They may think the timing is simply not right. Life may feel too complicated. Their responsibilities may seem too heavy. They may believe the circumstances around them are not yet ready for the future they quietly imagine. They may also carry emotional pain that has never fully healed. Old disappointments, broken trust, heartbreak, loss. These experiences can quietly shape the choices people make even years later. They may fear that getting closer could one day mean losing you completely. Because of that fear, they hesitate. Instead of stepping toward you, they pull themselves back. Instead of saying everything they feel, they keep much of it hidden. Surprisingly, this does not always happen because someone feels too little. Sometimes it happens because they feel too much, and what happens next may explain more than you expect. When emotions are shallow, people often move quickly without thinking very much. When feelings are light, taking risks feels easier. But when love reaches deep into the heart, everything changes. People begin thinking carefully about every decision they make. Fear quietly starts asking difficult questions. Every step feels important. Every word feels like it carries weight. When love is casual, people send messages without overthinking. They speak freely. They move forward without imagining every possible outcome. But when someone believes a relationship could change their life, they naturally become more careful. They choose their words slowly. They pay closer attention to their actions. They begin measuring every step because the connection feels too valuable to handle carelessly. In many situations, that caution is not proof that love is missing. It may simply show that the connection matters more deeply than they know how to express. They become increasingly aware of what could be gained and what could be lost. They begin thinking about responsibility, long-term consequences, and whether they are truly ready for something so meaningful. In trying to protect themselves, they may also believe they are protecting the person they care about. Keep watching, because this next idea often changes how people understand distance. Many people wonder why distance can exist even when strong feelings seem present. The answer is not always a lack of love or affection. More often, it is an inner conflict taking place inside one person. On one side, they clearly recognize your importance. They value your presence, your kindness, and the place you hold in their life. On the other side, fear, uncertainty, responsibility, and self-doubt keep pulling them back. Those opposite emotions create constant tension. They may quietly ask themselves difficult questions again and again. What if I cannot give them the future they deserve? What if I disappoint them? What if I damage something beautiful between us? What if I have not healed enough to build a healthy relationship? What if my past mistakes follow me into something new? What if getting closer creates more pain instead of peace? These questions usually do not come from indifference. They often come from caring deeply and recognizing that real relationships carry responsibility as well as emotion. Because of this, some people choose distance for a while, not because they want less connection, but because the feelings feel larger than they know how to handle. They step back, not because they do not want you, but because they are surprised by how much they do. And if that sounds familiar, the next part becomes even more important. Sometimes distance becomes the only coping tool a person knows. They may never have learned how to love without letting fear take control. They may not completely trust themselves with something that feels this important. They convince themselves that staying quiet is safer than speaking openly and risking everything. For many people, silence feels easier than vulnerability. Distance feels safer than complete closeness when emotions become intense. For the person waiting on the other side, this can be deeply confusing. It may cause you to question your own feelings. It may make you wonder whether the connection is real or simply something your mind has built over time. Yet genuine love does not always appear in smooth or predictable ways. Sometimes it looks uncertain, sometimes it appears hesitant, sometimes it hides behind practical reasons while emotions remain quietly active underneath. Sometimes patience replaces immediate action because someone is afraid of creating regret later. A person who cares deeply but remains distant may think about you far more often than they ever admit. They may remember old conversations. They may replay meaningful moments. They may imagine different possibilities before fear once again pulls them back. That quiet battle can become exhausting even when nobody else sees it. They may believe they need to heal before offering their heart completely. They may want to become stronger, more emotionally secure, or more stable before beginning a lasting relationship. They may honestly believe you deserve someone who is fully ready. Because of that belief, they choose distance, hoping it protects both of you from future pain. Yet feelings that are held back do not always disappear. They often remain quietly beneath the surface. They continue growing while life slowly changes. Even through silence, they can still carry meaning. Even through separation, they can continue shaping both people. Love does not always appear as constant messages, daily conversations, or dramatic gestures. Sometimes it appears through careful waiting. Sometimes it looks like someone facing their fears one day at a time while quietly carrying another person in their heart. If you feel this connection deeply, it does not automatically mean your mind is creating something imaginary. At the same time, it is wise not to assume what another person feels without clear communication. The healthiest path is to honor your own emotions while allowing space for reality to reveal itself over time. As people grow, fear can slowly lose its grip. Old wounds can begin to heal. Inner conflicts can become smaller. The distance between two people may naturally close when both are truly ready. Until then, let the silence be a reminder to care for yourself as much as you care for anyone else. Some of the strongest connections survive long, quiet seasons, not because they are perfect, but because they encourage both people to grow before the next chapter begins.